The metal floor felt cold against Vela's blue skin as she crawled through the narrow maintenance tunnel. Her fingers, with their slight webbing between them, worked quickly on the damaged wiring. Sweat beaded along the iridescent scales that ran from her temples down the sides of her neck. She had exactly 15 minutes to fix this section before her Draconid supervisor returned. Life aboard the Claw of Dominance had taught Vela to work fast. 3 years as a slave to the reptilian Draconids had been an education in efficiency, driven by fear. The burn scars on her back were reminders of lessons learned too slowly. A small tremor ran through the ship, making Vela pause. The Draconid warship had been in combat maneuvers all morning, though the slaves were never told who they were fighting. Another, stronger shake followed, and the emergency lights flashed red. "All maintenance units to Section 8, a harsh voice announced over the communication system. Structural damage reported. Vela gathered her tools quickly. Being late to an emergency call meant punishment. As she crawled out of the maintenance tunnel, she nearly collided with another slave, a 4-armed Xanthari male whose name she had never learned. The Draconids discouraged friendships among their slaves. "You, Section 8 East," the Xanthari whispered. "I'll take West." Vela nodded in silent gratitude. Section 8 was huge, and splitting it would save them both from punishment for slowness. She ran through the corridors, keeping her head down when passing Draconid soldiers. The reptilian warriors were more agitated than usual, their scaled tails lashing back and forth as they barked orders. Something serious was happening. In 3 years, Vela had learned to sense the moods of the ship. The Draconids were not just angry. They were afraid. When she reached Section 8 East, she understood why. A massive breach had torn through the outer hull. Emergency force fields contained the atmosphere, but they were flickering dangerously. Beyond the shimmer of energy, Vela could see the stars and the edge of an unknown ship. "Slave, repair the auxiliary power to the force field." A Draconid. Officer grabbed her arm, his claws digging into her flesh. "If that field fails, this entire section decompresses." The officer shoved her toward the damaged control panel. Blood from her arm dripped onto her gray uniform as she knelt to examine the system. The damage was severe, far beyond her usual repair duties. Still, she had to try. Failure meant death, either from the vacuum of space or from Draconid punishment. As Vela worked, she listened to the snippets of communication between the officers. "Unknown vessel refuses to withdraw. Boarding parties detected in lower sectors. Deploy all warriors to..." Another violent shake threw Vela against the wall. Pain shot through her shoulder, but she forced herself back to the control panel. The lights flickered once, twice, and then darkness enveloped the section. For 3 terrifying seconds there was nothing but blackness. When the emergency lights activated, Vela saw that the force field had weakened. The stars beyond seemed clearer, closer. A loud cracking sound came from above. Before Vela could look up, part of the ceiling collapsed. She tried to dodge, but metal and debris struck her leg. Pain exploded through her body as she found herself pinned to the floor. The Draconid officer who had ordered her to work was nowhere to be seen. The force field flickered again. This time, Vela heard the hiss of escaping air. The breach was growing. Panic rose in her chest as she tried to free her leg, but the metal had her trapped. Minutes earlier, she had feared punishment. Now she faced death. As the oxygen began to thin, Vela's thoughts drifted to her homeworld, to the twin moons that had lit the crystal forests where she had played as a child. She wondered if anyone there still remembered her. Would anyone in the universe notice when one more slave died? The force field collapsed with a final electronic whine. The rush of escaping air pulled at Vela's body, but the debris pinning her kept her from being sucked out into space. Her lungs burned as she gasped for oxygen that was no longer there. Darkness crept in from the edges of her vision. As consciousness slipped away, she thought she saw a figure in an unfamiliar spacesuit step through the breach. Just a hallucination, she decided as her eyes closed. Just her mind creating one last hopeful image before the end. Beeping. Steady, rhythmic beeping. was the first thing Vela noticed as awareness returned. Her body felt heavy, warm, and surprisingly free of pain. Was this death? The afterlife her people believed in was supposed to be a return to the cosmic ocean from which all life came. This didn't feel like water. Vela forced her eyes open. A smooth ceiling of pale blue material greeted her. Not the harsh metal of Draconid design. The air smelled different too. Cleaner, with a slight sweetness she couldn't identify. She tried to sit up and felt a gentle restraint across her chest. Not chains or energy bindings, just a simple strap that seemed designed to prevent her from falling, not to imprison her. "Easy there," a male voice said. "You've got 3 fractured ribs and a broken leg. Best not to move too quickly." Vela turned her head toward the voice. A human man stood nearby, looking at what seemed to be a medical display. His skin was a light brown, his hair dark and cut short. He wore a blue uniform with white trim, nothing like the black and red armor of the Draconids. A human. Vela had heard of them. The Draconids spoke of humans with a mixture of contempt and caution. A young species that had surprisingly rapid expansion into space. Unpredictable, the Draconids said. Dangerous because they didn't know their place in the hierarchy of galactic power. "Where?" Vela's voice cracked from disuse. "Where am I?" The human approached, carrying a small cup of water with a straw. He held it to her lips, allowing her to drink. The simple kindness was so unexpected that Vela nearly choked. "You're aboard the Earth Alliance vessel Horizon," he explained. "I'm Paul Carter, Chief Medical Officer. We found you during our boarding operation of the Draconid warship. You were in a decompressed section, barely alive." Vela processed this information slowly. The unknown ship had been human. They had boarded the Draconid vessel, an impressive feat given the reptilians' military prowess. Why am I here?" she asked. What she really meant was, why am I alive? Slaves with serious injuries were typically discarded. The resources needed for healing were rarely wasted on property that could be replaced. Paul checked something on her medical monitor before answering. "Because you needed medical attention, and because we don't leave people behind no matter their species." The simplicity of his answer confused Vela. There had to be more to it. Perhaps humans kept slaves too, and needed skilled workers. Maybe they would sell her once she was healed. "What work will I do for you?" she asked, trying to sit up again despite the discomfort. "I am trained in ship maintenance, basic electronics, and—" "Whoa, slow down." Paul gently pressed her shoulder back onto the bed. "You're not going to work for anyone. You're a guest, not a slave. The captain wants to speak with you when you're feeling better, but for now your only job is to rest and heal." Vela stared at him, searching his face for signs of deception. In her experience, kindness always came with a price, yet she saw nothing in his expression but genuine concern. "The Draconids," she began. "Won't be bothering you anymore," Paul assured her. "Their ship retreated from the system after we extracted our boarding teams. The captain can give you more details later, but you're safe now." Safe. Such a simple word, yet Vela could barely remember what it meant. As Paul adjusted her medication and explained that she would sleep again soon, she watched him cautiously. The gentle way he moved, the lack of threats or demands. It all seemed impossible. As the medication took effect and her consciousness began to fade again, Vela wondered if perhaps this was just an elaborate dream her mind had created in her final moments aboard the Draconid ship. If so, she didn't want to wake up. Dr. Susan Ryan had never treated an alien before. She did her best to help the alien child while Jack tried to talk with the mother. "I think we can make this work," said Bill Cooper, the communications expert, as he adjusted a small translation device. "Their language has patterns we can figure out." The alien mother spoke again, and this time the device translated some words. Help, child, sick, no medicine, people, left behind. They learned her name was Mira, and her child was Elio. They belonged to a group of aliens called the Vosh. Bill explained what he could understand from her story. The Vosh had been caught between humans and Xerillians during their fights in Space. The Xerillians had taken them from their home and then left them on a cold, rocky moon when they refused to spy on humans. Mira had managed to steal a small ship when the Xerillians weren't looking. With nowhere to go and no friends to help, she started taking small amounts of food from the human station to keep her child alive. "Why didn't you just come to us for help?" Jack asked. The translator shared Mira's answer. "Xerillians say humans hurt all aliens, show us war pictures, very scary." Jack felt angry. The Xerillians had lied to these innocent aliens, making them too afraid to ask humans for help. Dr. Ryan came over with a worried look. "The child is very weak from hunger and has an infection I don't fully understand. I can help him feel better, but I don't know enough about their bodies to completely cure him." Jack had a hard choice to make. Station rules said that, unknown, aliens should be locked up and reported to Earth Command right away. The station could give some help, but wasn't supposed to keep aliens without permission, especially during wartime. But looking at the scared alien mother holding her sick child, rules didn't seem to matter as much. This wasn't an attack or a trick, this was just a parent trying to save her child. "How long would it take to get permission from Earth Command?" he asked Bill. "At least 3 days. The Xerillians are blocking our messages in this area." The doctor shook her head. "The child might not live that long." Jack made his choice. "Dr. Ryan, do everything you can for the child. Bill, find all information we have about the Vosh in our computer. Lisa, check their ship and make sure there are no tracking devices on it. If the Xerillians find out they're here, we could have big problems." "What are you planning to do?" asked Lisa, looking worried. Jack looked at Mira, who stayed by her child's side. "I'm going to help them, and then I'm going to find the rest of their people." "Sir, that's not what we're supposed to do. Earth Command will—" Jack stopped her. "I'll deal with Earth Command. Right now these aliens need our help, and as station leader I can make this decision." As his team left to do their jobs, Jack went over to Mira. He put a hand over his heart, hoping she would understand what it meant. "We will take good care of your child," he said, even though he knew the translator wasn't working well. "You are safe here." Mira copied his gesture, putting all 4 of her hands over her heart. Her big eyes filled with what Jack realized were tears. Jack still wondered about the photograph Mira had shown him. He pointed to it again. "Who is this human?" The translator struggled with her answer. "Friend, helper, long ago, before bad times." Jack took the photo to look more closely. The woman in it wore an old-style space uniform, maybe 20 years out of date. Her name tag was partly visible. Dr. L. CLA. "Sir," Bill called from across the room. "You need to see this." On a computer screen, Bill had found information about the Vosh. They were known to humans once, about 20 years ago. A research team made contact with them on a planet in the neutral zone. The team was led by a Dr. Laura Clark. Jack looked back at the photo. "That must be her," he said, pointing to the woman. "Yes, but here's the strange part," Bill continued. "The official record says the Vosh were peaceful but primitive. Just simple nomads with no technology. But look at Mira's ship. It has advanced systems, even if they're old." "What happened to Dr. Clark's team?" Jack asked. Bill looked uncomfortable. "They were reported lost in a meteor storm. All hands killed." Mira made a sound that drew their attention. She was looking at the screen showing Dr. Clark's picture. The translator picked up her words. "Good human. Friend. Helped us. Taught us." "Sir," Lisa called from the doorway. "The child's condition is worsening." Jack rushed back to where Dr. Ryan was working frantically to stabilize little Elio. The child's breathing had become shallow, and his bluish skin had taken on a gray tone. "I need to know more about their biology," Dr. Ryan said. "Without it, I'm just guessing." Mira began speaking rapidly, too fast for the translator to keep up. She pointed urgently at her ship. "I think she has medicine on her ship," Jack realized. "Lisa, take her there immediately." When they returned, Mira carried a small container with glowing green liquid. She showed Dr. Ryan how to use it, placing drops on specific points of Elio's body. Within minutes, the child's color improved. "Amazing," Dr. Ryan whispered. Their medicine is far more advanced than ours in some ways. Later, as Elio rested comfortably, Jack sat with Mira in the station's meeting room. The translator had been improved, making conversation easier. The woman in the photo, Dr. Clark, Jack began. The records say she died. Mira shook her head. Not dead. Stayed with us. Helped us when Xyrillians came. She is with our people now. Hiding. Jack leaned forward. You're saying a human scientist has been living with your people for 20 years? Why wasn't this reported? Dangerous secret, Mira explained. Humans think Xyrillians want war, not true. Xyrillians want something else, something on our home planet, something powerful. What do they want? Jack asked. The source, Mira replied. Ancient technology. Very powerful. Dr. Clark helps us protect it. She sent me to find help. Jack suddenly understood. Mira hadn't randomly chosen their station to steal from. She had been sent here specifically. You weren't just stealing food. Were you? Jack asked. You were watching us, testing us. Mira's four hands made a gesture of agreement. Had to know if humans are still good, if you would help, not hurt. And did we pass your test? Jack asked quietly. Mira's large eyes met his. You passed. Now we need your help? Or everyone will. Die. Vosh humans, even Xyrillians. The source is breaking. Only humans and Vosh together can fix it. 3 days later, little Elio was much better. He played with simple toys that the station crew had given him while Jack and his team worked on a plan to help the Vosh people. I've found their location based on Mira's star map, said Linda Gomez, the navigation expert. She pointed to a spot on the big screen. They're here on a small moon called EM42. It's very cold there, with thin air and almost no food. Jack studied the map. That's close to the border between human and Xyrillian space, and there's a Xyrillian mining station nearby. Which explains why they put the Vosh there, Lisa said. They're using them as shields. They know we scan that area regularly because of their mining. If we saw the Vosh, we might think they're Xyrillian workers and attack them, Jack finished. Or at least it makes it harder for us to spy on the Xyrillians. Bill had been searching through old records. He came into the room looking excited. I found something big, he said, showing them an image on his tablet. It showed aliens that looked a lot like Mira. The Vosh aren't just some random aliens. According to these records, they're considered very special by the Galactic Union. They're an ancient species that was in space before humans or Xyrillians. They're knowledge keepers with stories that go back thousands of years. So they're important historically, Jack said. More reason to help them. It's more than that, Bill continued. The Vosh were thought to be all dead. No one has officially seen them for over 70 years. If Mira's group is who we think they are, they're the last ones left. Everyone was quiet as they thought about what this meant. The Xyrillians must know this, Lisa said finally. That's why they didn't just kill them. The Galactic Union would investigate if a protected species disappeared completely. Jack turned to Mira, who had been listening. Your people, how many are left? 40 adults. 15 children, she answered sadly. Once we were thousands. Jack made his decision. We need a bigger rescue than I thought, and we need to tell Earth Command. To Jack's surprise, Earth Command responded quickly. They said finding living Vosh was very important for diplomacy. Jack was ordered to do a rescue mission with all the resources he needed. 24 hours later, 2 more human ships arrived to help Space Station Freedom. The rescue plan was simple but dangerous. They would distract the Xyrillians at their mining station while a small team led by Jack would land on EM42 to get the Vosh. While the team prepared for the mission, Jack found Mira in the medical bay, with Elio, who was now running around and playing with a puzzle that Dr. Ryan had given him. We're going to find your people, Jack told her. Will you help us? Mira looked at him with her large eyes. My people have a saying, the hand that helps creates a bond stronger than blood. Your people have helped us when you had no reason to. I will guide you. Jack nodded. Tell me more about Dr. Clark. How did she end up staying with your people? Her ship crashed on our old world, Mira explained. We saved her team. The others left, but she stayed to learn about us. When Xyrillians came, she helped us hide the source and escape. What exactly is the source? Jack asked. He had been wondering about this since Mira first mentioned it. Mira seemed to struggle with how to explain. Very old, very powerful, created by the ancestors, gives life to dead worlds, makes air, water, plants grow, but also can destroy if used wrong. Like a terraforming device? Jack suggested. More powerful, Mira said. Can change whole star systems. The ancestors used it to help life grow in this part of space. Then they left it with my people to protect. For thousands of years we kept it safe, moving it when needed. But now it is breaking. And the Xyrillians want it? Yes, to make weapons. Their leader, General Krav, learned about it from old stories. Has been hunting us for many years. Now, Jack understood why this was so important. If the Xyrillians got this technology, they could use it as a terrible weapon against humans and other species. We leave in 6 hours, Jack told her. Get ready. As Mira left to prepare, Dr. Ryan approached Jack. I've been studying their medicine, she said. It's amazing. The liquid Mira used on Elio contains particles that can actually reprogram cells. It could help us cure diseases we've been fighting for centuries. More reason to help them, Jack said. How's our special project coming along? Dr. Ryan smiled. We've made 20 doses. It should be enough. The next morning, Jack led a team of 6 people on a small fast ship toward EM-42. Mira came with them as their guide. Their ship was designed to be hard to see on radar. The other human ships would create a distraction by doing a routine patrol near the Xyrillian mining station. As they approached the moon, Jack could see why the Vosh were struggling to survive. The surface was mostly ice and rock with no plants or animals. The temperature was far below freezing. How did your people survive here? He asked Mira. We used the last of our technology to build shelters in caves, she said. But our food is almost gone and the cold. She didn't finish, but Jack understood. They were slowly dying. The ship landed in a hidden valley between tall ice cliffs. Jack and his team put on their cold weather suits, while Mira wrapped herself in special thermal blankets they had brought for the Vosh. The settlement is this way, Mira said, pointing to a narrow path between the rocks. They walked for 20 minutes through bitter cold winds. Finally, they came to what looked like a wall of ice. Mira touched it in a special pattern, and a hidden door opened. Inside, they found a series of ice caves. The Vosh had created a small village here, with living spaces carved into the walls. But what struck Jack most was how weak everyone looked. Everyone. The adults were thin, their skin a pale blue-gray instead of the healthy blue of Mira and Elio. The children moved slowly, conserving their energy. When the Vosh saw Mira returning with humans, many looked afraid. But then Elio ran ahead to greet. His friends and everyone could see how healthy he looked. An older Vosh with deep blue skin approached Jack. Mira introduced him as Keltar, the leader of their group. Mira tells us you helped when you could have hurt, Keltar said through the translator. You saved when you could have left us to die. It was the right thing to do, Jack replied simply. The right thing is not always the easy thing, Keltar said. This is why it matters when someone chooses to do it. The old Vosh gestured to a figure sitting in the back of the cave. As the person stood up and moved forward, Jack saw it was a human woman, much older than in the photograph, with gray hair and lines on her face, but unmistakably, Dr. Laura Clark. Well, she said with a voice rough from years of not speaking English. It's been a long time since I've seen other humans. I hope you brought a way to get us all out of here because we're running out of time. The source is becoming unstable, and if we don't fix it soon, this entire sector of space could be in danger. Jack stared at Dr. Laura Clark in surprise. For 20 years, everyone thought she was dead. Dr. Clark, he said, Earth thinks you died in a meteor storm. The older woman gave a small laugh. That's the story we put out when my team left. I stayed behind because I knew the Vosh needed protection. And because what they guard is too important to fall into the wrong hands. She led Jack deeper into the ice caves. At the back, behind several hidden doors, was a chamber that glowed with soft blue light. In the center sat an object that looked like a crystal sphere about the size of a basketball. Inside the sphere, blue and green energy moved like living smoke. This is the source, Dr. Clark explained. The ancestors created it millions of years ago to bring life to dead worlds. It can control weather, make plants grow, even change the chemistry of whole planets. But it's damaged now and becoming unstable. Jack could see cracks in the crystal with energy leaking out in pulses. What happens if it breaks completely? It could release all its energy at once, Dr. Clark said grimly. That would destroy everything within several light years, including 3 inhabited star systems. Can we fix it? Jack asked. The Vosh know how, but they need materials we don't have. And now that you're here, we don't have much time. The Xyrillians check on this settlement every 10 days. They're due tomorrow. Jack called his team over. We need to get everyone out now. How many can our ship carry? Lisa, who had come with Jack, looked worried. Maybe 20 at most. There are almost 60 Vosh plus Dr. Clark. Then we need the other ships, Jack decided. He tried to call Space Station Freedom but got no response. The ice walls must be blocking our signal. We need to set up a relay outside. I'll go, offered Steve, who had also joined the rescue team. Take Bill with you, Jack ordered. And hurry. While they waited for communications to be established, the Vosh packed their few belongings. Dr. Ryan, who had come as their medical officer, checked each Vosh for health problems. Many of them are in bad shape, she told Jack, especially the children. They need proper food and warm shelter soon. Jack turned to Dr. Clark. What about the source? Can we move it? Yes, but carefully, she replied. It has a containment case, but the case is also damaged. It needs repairs before we can safely transport it. Keltar, the Vosh leader, spoke up. We have the knowledge to repair it, but we need special metals. What kinds of metals? Jack asked. Dr. Clark explained. A specific alloy containing titanium and rare elements. The Vosh had some, but the Xyrillians took most of their supplies. Wait, said Lisa. Our ship's auxiliary cooling system uses titanium alloy parts. We could take some of those. Would that work? Jack asked Dr. Clark. She nodded. If we can get it melted down and reshaped quickly. Get on it, Jack told Lisa. Take whatever you need from the ship. Just then, Steve's voice came through on the radio. Sir, we've got a problem. There's a Xyrillian scout ship approaching. They're early. Jack's mind raced. How long until they get here? About 40 minutes. And that's not all. Our other ships are engaged with Xyrillian forces. They tried to create a diversion as planned, but the Xyrillians sent more ships than expected. They can't help us right now. Jack looked around at the frightened Vosh faces. We need a new plan. We can't fight a Xyrillian ship, and we can't evacuate everyone in time. Dr. Clark seemed to be thinking. There is one option. If we can, partly, activate the source, we could use it to hide everyone temporarily. How? Jack asked. The source can bend light and energy. It could create a shield that would make this whole area look like solid ice to the Xyrillians. But it would be risky, with the device already unstable. Keltar stepped forward. I will control the source. I am the most skilled. It could kill you, Dr. Clark warned. My life for my people, Keltar said simply. There is no higher purpose. While Lisa worked with the Vosh to repair the containment case, Keltar and Dr. Clark prepared the source. Jack organized the rest of the Vosh, getting them ready to move quickly when the time came. The shield will only last about 20 minutes before the source becomes too unstable, Dr. Clark explained to Jack. When that happens, everyone needs to be at least a mile away. What about Keltar? Jack asked. Dr. Clark looked sad. He will need to stay with the source until the end to control it. There's no other way. Jack refused to accept this. There has to be another solution. What if we use the special medicine the Vosh have, the one Mira used on Elio? Dr. Ryan says it can reprogram cells. Could it help Keltar withstand the source's energy? Dr. Clark looked surprised. Maybe, but it would take a massive dose, more than they can spare. We made more, Jack said. Dr. Ryan studied it and created 20 doses. We brought them for the sick Vosh. For the first time, hope showed on Dr. Clark's face. It might work. Get Dr. Ryan quickly. Dr. Ryan came running with the medicine. While she prepared a large dose for Keltar, Jack got an update from Steve outside. Xyrillian ship is 20 minutes out, Steve reported. And I can see something else. A larger ship behind it. Looks like a Xyrillian battlecruiser. They must have figured out what the source is, Dr. Clark said. General Krav has been hunting it for years. Keltar took the medicine Dr. Ryan prepared. All 4 of his hands glowed blue as he placed them on the source. The crystal sphere pulsed brighter, and a wave of energy spread outward. It's working, Dr. Clark whispered. The shield is forming. Jack could see through the cave entrance that the air outside was bending, like looking through water. Within moments, the view outside appeared to be just solid ice. Everyone get to the ship now, Jack ordered. Move as quietly as possible. The Vosh formed a line, helping the weak and carrying the children. Dr. Ryan led them through the caves toward where their ship was hidden. Jack stayed behind with Dr. Clark. You need to go too, he told her. Not without Keltar, she replied. And not without the source. We need 10 more minutes for the containment case repairs. Jack watched as Keltar controlled the source. The old Vosh was visibly struggling, his body shaking with effort. But the medicine seemed to be working. He was withstanding the energy that would normally kill him. Xyrillian ship is scanning the area. Steve's voice came through the radio. They're right overhead. Everyone freeze, Jack ordered through his radio. No movement until they pass. Minutes ticked by slowly. Jack could hear Keltar's labored breathing. Containment case is ready, Lisa radioed. We're bringing it back now. 5 more tense minutes passed before Lisa arrived with 2 Vosh carrying the repaired case. Very carefully, they transferred the source from its stand into the case. As soon as it was sealed, Keltar collapsed. Jack caught him before he hit the ground. Is he alive? Dr. Ryan checked quickly. Yes, but barely. The medicine helped, but it nearly killed him. Xyrillian ship is moving away, Steve reported. They didn't detect us. Jack didn't waste time. Everyone move to the ship now. Lisa, you and I will carry Keltar. Dr. Clark, bring the source. They ran through the ice caves toward their hidden ship. Above them, they could hear the hum of the Xyrillian ships. They're starting to land troops, Steve warned. They must suspect something. When they reached the ship, most of the Vosh were already aboard. It was crowded far beyond the ship's normal capacity, but everyone squeezed in. We can't outrun a battlecruiser, Lisa said as they prepared for takeoff. We don't need to, Jack replied. We just need to reach Space Station Freedom. Once we're there, Earth Command will protect us. As their ship lifted off, they saw Xyrillian soldiers in the distance moving toward the abandoned ice caves. They're going to be very angry when they find nothing there, Dr. Clark said with a small smile. 3 hours later, they docked safely at Space Station Freedom. Earth Command had sent 2 more ships to escort them. The Vosh were given food, warm, clothes, and medical care. In the station's meeting room, Jack watched as Dr. Clark explained to Earth Command officials about the source. The ancient device was now safely contained and would be taken to Earth for proper repairs. Mira found Jack by the big window. Elio played happily with other Vosh children nearby. My people will tell this story forever, she said. How a mother caught stealing led to the rescue of all Vosh. How a human chose to help instead of punish. Jack smiled. And we'll tell our story too. How finding an alien mother stealing food led to saving millions of lives and finding ancient technology that can help everyone. Keltar, now recovering in the medical bay, had made Jack an honorary Vosh. The old leader had told him, You humans are young as a species, but you understand something important that even the ancestors sometimes forgot. What's that? Jack had asked. That true power comes not from technology or weapons, but from compassion, from choosing to help those who cannot repay you. As Jack looked out at the stars, he thought about how a simple act of kindness, choosing to help rather than punish, had changed everything. In the vastness of space with all its dangers and mysteries, perhaps the greatest strength was seeing a stranger not as a threat, but as a friend waiting to be made. The end.